Looking for financial insights you can trust?
How do you protect yourself as an investor? What's the strategy?
I think it's really simple. I think you just want to be diversified in your portfolio.
The Payne family brings real-world experience to every conversation.
Well, I think that's the problem right now is, right, a lot of people that are close to retirement, they're taking so much risks. And if we do get a big sell-off, it could derail their retirement.
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
This episode is brought to you by Blink. Doom scrolling during this ad break? Ditch the doom and get peace of mind with new Blink 2K Plus Smart Security. Check on home from your phone with 2K Clarity, noise cancellation, and 4x Zoom. Plus, setup is so simple you can easily install while listening to your favorite podcast. True crime girlies? We got you. Get more, spend less with Blink 2K Plus Smart Security.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network. Attention Ditto Heads. Attention Bo Scouts.
Goes by the pseudonym Bo Snerdley.
It's time for the Soul of Excellence.
He is a radio host here in New York.
The Rush Hour is on the air.
Rush.
Now here's James Golden.
This is not some talking point. It is not some thought exercise. I've heard from families across the country who are staring down unthinkable healthcare hikes, premiums doubling, tripling, worse. I'm talking to people who learned their monthly premium is jumping by hundreds and in some cases thousands of dollars a month. Americans who are making painful decisions, wondering how they can cut down on groceries or gas or other essentials to cover these rising premiums, or whether they will just roll the dice and go without coverage, even if it means skipping checkups or rationing prescriptions. This is not some talking point. It is not some thought exercise. The mega healthcare hike is a reality.
Thank you so much. That's Patty Murray, ladies and gentlemen, the senatoress. Let's call her the mom in tennis shoes. Because when she first came to the Senate, she came into the Senate with a bunch of other women in an election cycle. And it was like, oh, yeah, the women are taking over. The mom in tennis shoes, because she wore tennis shoes. And so what? And just, yes. Welcome. It is the Wednesday edition of Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour, fastest hour in American business. Of course, what she's talking about is the vote is supposed to happen tomorrow in the Senate. The mouthing, the debates are happening now over whether to adopt a 3-year increase in subsidies that Democrats proposed and that are sunsetting, a gift of money to prop up their failing Obamacare, or whether to adopt another plan that has been put forth by 2 Republicans that would be a substitute. The thinking, the handicapping, as it were, is that both plans will fail, leaving the extended subsidies a moot point. And I suppose if one had to pick the worst of all alternatives, or the best of all alternatives, to just let them fail, well, that may be it. But there is panic in Washington, D.C. I mentioned yesterday that the Republican plan that was put forth, it gives people a lump sum. I'll go through the details again if you want. It gives people a lump sum, $1,000 here, $1,500 there, depending on your age. And then you have to, and that money gets put into seeds, a health savings account for people, but they still have to buy into the bronze Obamacare package on Obamacare. And so Chuck Schumer was particularly dismissive of that plan. We have that. But it still leaves the failed Obamacare in place, which is the problem. So I have no idea how any of this is going to end out. It all looks disastrous. Now, there are 2 other things that are happening that I'm sure have Republicans panicked. One is a small thing that you might not have heard of. The other you probably heard of in today's headlines, and that is that Democrat Elaine Higgins flipped the Miami's mayor's race. She defeated a Republican mayor, Emilio Gonzalez, in Miami, Yorami. First time a Democrat, she's the first Democrat to become mayor of Yorami since 1997. She bested Mr. Gonzalez, the Miami city manager who served on President Trump's Homeland Security Department transition team, to defeat incumbent mayor Francis Suarez. Now it's listed as a nonpartisan race, but it's not. So it's the latest boost for Democrats. And the DNC chairman, Ken Martin, said of the victory, tonight's result, yet another warning sign to Republicans that voters are fed up with their out-of-touch agenda that is raising costs for working families across the country. I don't think that's what was going on in Yorami. I think what was happening is, and I will say, I think there is a lot of speculation that perhaps the sizable Cuban American population a little bit less enthusiastic about some of the things the administration has done, including listing Cuba. Although, to me, it should make them happy as one of the nations that we're not interested in, doing business with. Also, my friends, in Georgia, there was a state election. Democrats flipped a House seat there in the red-leaning district, House District 121. Democrat Eric Geisler defeated Republican Mac Guest IV. They call it a major upset. Trump won that district by 12 points last year. 12 points. And a Democrat flipped it, local House seat there. But I'm sure that is causing people to worry and say, what are we headed for in the upcoming mid-year elections? Going back to the Obamacare, the subsidy issue, we have another one from Patty Murray. We talked about this yesterday. I said this would send Democrats off the wall. And indeed it was. She was walking through the Capitol building, cut 5, and somebody asked her about the bill that Republicans put up, and this is what she said.
I mean, it says women cannot get access to abortion through their plan. I don't see any way that this helps the people that are being hurt right now by the tax credits going away. Thank you.
Thank you. What she said, in case you didn't catch that really quick, was women can't get abortions. Women can't. They're not going to allow tax-funded abortions in the Republican plan. Women won't have access to get tax-funded abortions. No. And those are the two I saw. They're not poison pills. It is supposed to be, for those that don't know it, the Hyde Amendment was a law put in place by Henry Hyde, the erstwhile senator from Illinois, I believe. And the Hyde Amendment said, and Hyde was a Democrat. Was Hyde a Democrat? I think Hyde was anyway. The Hyde Amendment said can't use federal dollars to pay for abortions. You're not supposed to be able to use them. Well, with Obamacare, that's exactly what's happening. Americans have funded it, but they have these insurance plans offer access to abortion that taxpayers end up paying for. So in the Republican plan that's put up, no. And there's also no money for gender reassignment surgeries. You want that, you pay for it out of your own pocket. Don't stick it on taxpayers. And those are non-starters for they're non-starters for Democrats. They're never going to get support for that. While we're on Patty Murray, and before we leave the mom in tennis shoes, she's also itching about something else. She's itching about the tariffs. And that's cut 6. And this is Patty Murray, B.I. itching against Donald Trump and the tariff.
Canada is Washington State, my state's second largest export partner and our largest source of international visitors. And I want you to know this. President Trump's trade war and insults have driven away Canadian visitors to my state and to other states. It has delivered a huge blow to our economy. Passenger vehicle border crossings in my state are down more than 24% in the first 10 months of this year. Spokane, Washington, Eastern Washington, saw a 33% drop in visitors this year. The operator of a ferry between Seattle and Victoria, BC, has been forced to lay off now a quarter of its workforce because ridership is down 30%. In my state, Americans are losing their jobs and our businesses are struggling. And I just really believe, Mr. Ambassador, we should not be picking fights with our close allies and neighbors like Canada. This trade war has been a terrible blow to American small businesses, and I hope it ends. It has to end. If it could end tomorrow, it would be so much better for my state and so many other people. I want you to know that, especially with Canada. This is hurting my state.
You know, there's never any. How did the trade war start? Canada has been a nation that has protected. Henry Hyde was a Republican. Thank you. I don't know why in the world I thought Henry Hyde could have been I should have known just instinctively that no Democrat would ever restrict abortion anywhere. But he was from Illinois, Chicago, in the Chicago area. That's right, Henry Hyde. Anyway, thank you, Princess Diana, to the rescue. Anyway, you notice Canada has very protected industries, and Americans have been suffering because of it. Particularly the dairy industries and others, where they've restricted American trade. So never a word from this senator about the impact on Americans and how the trade war has benefit or will benefit. How Canada has been taking advantage of us economically, as have many other nations across the world. No. Because of the trade war and the insults. Visitors to my state have gone down. Well, just hang tight, Patty. Tie your tennis shoes tighter and hold tight. Things will get better. Look, I have a lot of friends that are Canadian. And they're still my friends. And, you know, all of that. There are bigger things at work here, Patty Murray, and perhaps you should care about those things as well, particularly how your country will benefit from better trade deals, not just from our nearest trading partners, Canada and Mexico, but around the world. James Golden, Snerdley with you. Fastest hour in American media. Don't go away.
Rush. This is The Rush Hour with James Golden.
Snerdley.
Looking for financial insights you can trust?
How do you protect yourself as an investor? What's the strategy?
I think it's really simple. I think you just want to be diversified in your portfolio.
The Payne family brings real-world experience to every conversation.
Well, I think that's the problem right now is, right, a lot of people that are close to retirement, they're taking so much risks. And if we do get a big sell-off, it could derail their retirement.
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
James Golden, known popularly as Bo Snerdley.
This is The Rush Hour with James Golden.
Rush.
Coming December 20th, my friends, it's home for the holidays with Mr. Christmas, Vinny Madunio. Get ready to slay your night away with live performances, ugly sweaters, jolly friends. It's Mr. Christmas, Vinny Madunio, singing your holiday favorites live in concert December 20th. For more info and tickets, go to homefortheholidays2025.com. James Golden, Snerdley with you here. On this day in 2008, and I remember this, and many of you that listen to the Rush Show will remember this because we had some fun with it. The Associated Press reported on this day, 2008, that the U.S. military was using loud music to create fear, disorient, and prolonged capture shock for some of the terrorist prisoners being held at Club Gitmo, at Guantanamo Bay, Club Gitmo. What they used to do is blast music to these prisoners 24 hours a day. Some of the music that they were using, and Democrats said, this is torture. This is torture. Some of the musical selections that they were blasting to, if you will believe the Democrats, to torture. Democrats said it again. This is torture. To torture the terrorist. They were using Born in the USA by Bruce Springsteen. Hell's Bells by AC/DC. White America by Eminem. The theme from Sesame Street. And they were using I Love You from Barney and Friends TV show. Blasted 24 hours a day. At the time, they had no idea of a song that would, because it wasn't created yet, that they could have used. We have that song today. That song was used the other day, 2 days ago, when Jasmine Crockett announced her candidacy. At the candidacy, when she threw her wig in the ring, she threw some of her hair in the ring, when she made that announcement at that precious event, listeners were treated to this.
She ain't never scared and she ain't never been. Who is willing to go toe-to-toe against the president? I can't wrap my head around someone who votes Republican. She advocate for feeding kids, they protect folks touching them. Trump invading his own country with our army, what a joke. We remember Pearl Harbor by illegally bombing boats, but y'all thought we wasn't gonna do nothing, buddy, think again. They only trying to scare out of running, cause they think she'll win. Listen, thought I told y'all we ain't never scared. Now look who name on the docket. Got 2 words for every racist bigot. Jasmine Crockett. Y'all hear the words. Me, I hope my money goes.
Okay, no, please, I can't. I could see how, Imagine that blasting for an hour. No, imagine that blasting for 15 minutes. No, imagine that blasting for 5 minutes, nonstop in your ears. We'll be back.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
James Golden, known popularly as Bo Snerdley.
This is The Rush Hour with James Golden.
Rush.
On this day in 1952, American actress Susan Day, known for her television role as Laurie Partridge on The Partridge Family, was born. One of the hits from The Partridge Family back in 1970. I Think I Love You. And I had to make sure that we had this right. You know, yesterday, it was a big blunder with the music. Big blunder. We were talking about The Doors. I'm going on this. The Doors did this, and we've got the Dire Straits playing underneath. So of course I threw Carlos under the bus. It's my fault. I mean, in my ear, I'm saying something's not right, but I'm just busy going on. I should have known, and I should have known it was Dire Straits. I didn't. It didn't compute. I'm like, well, he must have picked another. I threw Carlos under the bus. So today I come in and I say, Carlos, look, I'm halfway trying to apologize to Carlos. I say, maybe we just double check everything. I don't want to throw you under the bus. Carlos, I don't care if you throw me under the bus. You don't win. You don't win when you throw me under, because I know what happens. If you ever pick on me, your listeners get ticked off at you. And they write you and tell you how nasty you are. So don't worry about me. Throw me under the bus all you want to. You don't win. Gee, Carlos. Wow, Carlos. Thank you. But it wasn't his fault. It was my fault. And I just should have said that yesterday and thank goodness Jim Robinson was listening. Jim Robinson sent me a text. Hey, you ought to know this song that's playing. Anyway, something to listen to yesterday, folks. We played social media comments from people, primarily African-American, talking about the immigrant situation in the country, Somalia. Trump did a rally last night in Pennsylvania, and he once again repeated the phrase that certain countries were S-holes, among other things. Today, we have voices that are somewhat different. These things pop up, and I say, okay, I'm going to play them. We do have one woman, happens to be African-American, again, that wants to talk about the immigration. But we hear today from two Somali women. And I thought one of the comments was Lady Benedict has, Carlos, Lady Benedict has weighed in your favor as well. It is true, you don't win. Carlos rules. Okay, folks, I really would love to hear, by the way, and now your princess is joined in too. I can't stand it. By the way, Princess Diana will be with us tomorrow. She has agreed to come on, a rare weekday appearance from Her Majesty. Your princess, Carlos knows his power. Okay, Your Highnesses, those of you in the royal court, I would love to hear what you have to say about these two. And, of course, America's small caffeinated mom this is all happening in real time. America's small caffeinated mom says you have full immunity for everything that you do. I can't stand it. All right. I would love to hear from my royal court on what they think about some of the things that these two different Somali women are saying. First, cut 10. This is a woman discussing assimilation into the U.S. culture.
So I heard this word a lot. They don't assimilate. What kind of beautiful culture you have that I should assimilate? The culture that leave their parents in the nursing home, neglect emotionally, physically, and financially. This woman had you in her tummy for 9 months, raised you without question. This man put a food in your table and you put them in nursing home because you no longer need them. So you're going to ship them to nursing home, or you're going to leave the house that you grew up in. And when they call you and they want to hear from you, you will get agitated and say, what do you need? Why are you calling? Is that culture where you want me to assimilate? No, thank you. I have a Quran who guides me to teach me how to take care of my parents, neighbors, and loved ones. This culture is a broken system.
So this, in case you didn't catch all of that, she's very critical. Why should I assimilate to your culture? In your culture, thank you. Finally, I get somebody. The Countess of Conspiracy has sent me a text. I love you, James. Don't worry about it. I love you. You're good. Thank you, Countess. This woman has identified, this Somali woman says, why should you think you have a beautiful culture here in this country? Why should I assimilate into your culture? She says, you are the people that put your parents in nursing homes. When they grow old, you don't take care of them. Your mommy had you in her tummy for 9 months. She took care of you. Without question, she took care of you. Your daddy put food on your table, worked for you. He took care of you. And when you grow older, what do you do to your parents? You shove them in a nursing home and forget about them. And even when you leave home and your parents call you, you get irritated with your parents. You don't want to be bothered with them. Why in the world? And she says, we have a Quran that teaches us to love our parents and teaches us how to be responsible to our parents and take care of our parents when they get old. To take care of our... I'm getting one response already. We have, she says, a Quran that teaches us to take care, to basically honor our parents, to honor our family and our loved ones. You people in America, your culture teaches you to throw away your parents when you don't need them anymore. So why should I assimilate to your culture? That's number one. Number two is somewhat longer. Be patient and work your way through this with me, folks. That is cut 11.
First things first, I'm actually so shocked that Trump is attacking us. I think Trump should be thanking us in multiple ways, and I'm going to explain. First things first, I think we are a good example of what the American dream can look like. Like, Somali Americans, and it's making me sad and it's funny, like, I know Somali people are very funny. We're like the class clan who also happens to be valedictorian. Somalis in Minnesota are so successful. I take multiple trips a year to Minnesota, and I leave so inspired. You have Somali-only, like, Somali-owned law firms, Somali-owned pharmacies, Somali-owned everything you can think of, and it's so inspiring to see that what my community could do in just 30 years. Literally, we came to this country not speaking English, not knowing anything. We're Black, Muslim, we're immigrant, and we're able to be that successful. It should be really applauded. Like, I need Trump to stand up and applaud for us because it's shocking. Literally, my friend just moved to Minnesota, and she was telling me how when she gave birth, it was an all Somali staff. Her midwife was Somali. Her doctors were Somali. Her nurses were Somali. Like, that is so beautiful to see, and it should be celebrated, okay? Second of all, Trump, you should be thanking my people for giving a random Midwestern state that much clout and money. Like, I don't think, other than Chicago, I think Minnesota is really popping when it comes to tourism because of Somali Americans like me, okay? So you should be thanking us because Minnesota would have been nothing if Somalis didn't move there. Like, if we're being honest, like, we have made that state pop, and we have made it beautiful for the rest of the world. So you should thank us, and if you want, you can donate Minnesota to the great country of Somalia. Like, I think it's a nice trade-off. And last but not least, I'm so happy that people are discovering how funny, witty Somali people are. We're very confident. And although Trump said what he had to say, like, I want him to know, Yani, like, it didn't even, like, bother. Like, it didn't do anything to our confidence. We've heard everything you've said before. People always make fun of Somalia, da-da-da. But I still think I'm better than everyone. Like, God has made me Somali Muhammad. Like, I'm okay. I'm okay. On top of that, I'm Somali American, broski. Like, I'm winning on both sides. But yeah, it's just nice to see that everyone's realizing Somali people are very funny, very confident. And that's never going to change. It has not changed since colonial days, baby boy. And it's not going to change because somebody right now decided to make fun of us. We're actually winning the war, so. But yeah, that's all I have to say.
We're actually winning the war. I didn't know there was a war. Okay, a few things about this video. One thing she says that I would love for many of my fellow African-American, native-born Americans to hear. First of all, let's just dispel some of the things that she said first. The majority of the 800,000 of Somalis that came here are in some way or another, from what I understand, on some sort or another of government benefits. So as a large part of that population, many of them are accessing benefits. So they're not all entrepreneurs, as she seemed to say. And she also said this, it's Minnesota, some random state out there that wouldn't be, Minnesota wouldn't be nothing without the Somalis. It's nothing. It was nothing before the Somalis came. We made Minnesota the state that it is.
Pro-sport seems nowhere and nothing.
Nothing existed in Minnesota before the Somalis came in. Let me dispel those two things. All the comments are rolling in from the royal staff. The arrogance is off the charts. Watch out for those no-go zones. Sharia is alive and well in Minneapolis. The American taxpayer can't afford to take care of multiple generations while we're supporting so many not born here who believe they're entitled to benefits, including 50% of the Somalis who are on welfare. And then we need to cut the aid that she's getting and support our elderly and our veterans. And the first one was to that first woman who was complaining, why should I assimilate? You people throw your parents away in nursing home. So why did she come here in the first place? If you love to, okay, those are some of the comments. However, let me just say this about that. The second woman, she talks about the pride that she has in going to Minnesota and seeing so many professionals from the Somali within 30 years, owning their own businesses and having a strong entrepreneurial background or professional background. That is possible in America. And the fact that a percentage of the Somali population is doing that ought to tell those Americans who sit on their haunches with their hands out, and especially, let me be really straight and to the point, especially the black Americans who sit here pointing outward and saying it's the system, the white man this, the white man that, the system this, the system that. There are people around the world who understand this country and the opportunities that it does have if you want to succeed, if you have the desire and the ambition to succeed. And it's just a shame that sometimes we have to listen to people who have come here and within one generation have figured it out, while so many people who have families have been here for centuries now are still sitting down blaming others for their problems. On that happy note, I'll take a break. Ladies and gentlemen,
Rush. This is the Rush Hour with James Golden.
Both Snerdley.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Life
The Rush Hour with James Golden.
Goes by the pseudonym Bo Snerdley.
Rush.
Now, here's James Golden.
You know, as an offshoot to the things that we just played, we're having an internal discussion here, the Royal Court and I, as to who are the greatest scammers. And we'll have to figure that out and get back to it. In the meantime, I want to ask you to join Red Apple Audio Network's AARP New York City, the Police Athletic League, Gristedes and D'Agostino Supermarkets, and Nationwide Imaging Services as we deliver holiday meals to more than 5,000 families across New York City. Go to redappleaudionetworks.com/turkey. This holiday season, you can help Red Apple Audio Networks feed people in need. Your donation helps put a meal on the table, a holiday meal. What a beautiful thing is that. For people in need, that's redappleaudionetworks.com/turkey, redappleaudionetworks.com/turkey. So we're having a discussion here about scammers. I said one thing that the Somali scammers, you know, by the way, it's opening up in Maine too. Apparently there's a lot of scamming going on in Maine too within that universe of population. And that's just now starting to come to light. And I said, well, you know, one thing it taught me, up until now, I thought that those segments of the Nigerian scammers who scam had the scam markets locked up. Those are the ones with the email thing, you know, if you put $10,000, we have all this money for you. If you just go to the bank and send us some, then we'll send you the rest of the money we just need. All those elaborate email scams. The Prince, those guys. So, well, they got it locked up. No, the Nigerian scammers don't have this locked up anymore. And then Diana said, don't forget the Clintons, though. They're number one scammers of all time. Well, wait a minute. What about Newsom? Well, Newsom with that high speed and the fire charity. Well, no, what about the Bidens and Ukraine Zelensky? What about Pelosi's? What about the Democrat that had the gold bars in the refrigerator? That was William Jefferson out of New Orleans area. And then it's like, wait a minute, we got to think about this. Anyway, folks, on this day in 1967, the great R&B soul singer, superstar, songwriter Otis Redding passed away. He was killed in a plane crash, 26 years old. Also killed with him were most of the members of the Bar-Kays. Soulfinger, and they were the house band for a lot of the Stax records. One member, and they reformed the Bar-Kays and made it into a great group. Anyway, posthumous #1 single for Otis Redding. We got to go. May God bless, protect each and every one of you, your families, your loved ones. Love and gratitude for your being here with me, allowing me to be with you. God willing, back tomorrow with Princess Diana, too. Until then, I bid you adieu. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour. You can hear Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour weekdays at 4 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
Looking for financial insights you can trust?
How do you protect yourself as an investor? What's the strategy?
I think it's really simple. I think you just want to be diversified in your portfolio.
The Payne family brings real-world experience to every conversation.
Well, I think that's the problem right now is, right, a lot of people that are close to retirement, they're taking so much risks. And if we do get a big sell-off, it could derail their retirement.
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.